WNT9 Talk Radio. King Envy here with my cousin, my brother Dal Divine Finley. We are bringing you something from Paterson, New Jersey today. Love and Unity Podcast. Got some video clips and a live interview with no other than the councilman, Michael Jackson, as you can see on the screen. I want to show you this clip before we actually get into it with the councilman.
Rochelle Park. Let me find it. Hold on. Just check it. This is worth the wait. This is the mayor, and yesterday in Rochelle Park. This is what we got going on here. All right, let's see if we can get this. This is the mayor yesterday in Rochelle Park. That's yesterday. While we're out here suffering, right? With residents out there suffering. Look, is there anybody recognizable in these pictures? Go look on Rochelle Park's Facebook page, and you'll see, right? This guy, skinning and grinning as he normally does, right? He's in Rochelle Park yesterday. We got like damn near a state of emergency in the city of Paterson, where residents have no water. I bet you he had water in his house. If not, he was at the hotel, right? And residents have no water in the middle of the day. While I was over there physically doing the labor, making sure many of you guys was able to get some water, get us, even if it's only one case, right? This guy is out campaigning for somebody else in Rochelle Park. And you telling me that he's the guy, that he's here, he has our best interest in mind? Listen, man, you can't make this up.
Yeah, pretty interesting clip, brother. I do. Let's get the councilman in. I'm aware that he is out uh, physically on the field. Um, just bring him in, man. Bring him in. The people want them. They sending me questions. There's a lot going on in the city of
Absolutely.
Paterson. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have the councilman Michael Jackson. How you doing, sir?
Gentlemen, listen, thank you for the opportunity, man. I appreciate you guys, following the city of Paterson and helping, shed some light on some of the things that's going on here.
Absolutely, Mike. We appreciate you coming on to the show. We see you're on the field, busy as you were since this crisis, I'll call it, has started. So give us an update, Mike. What's going on in the city? I think you've been out without water for like 4 days now. Give us an update.
So, the city's been without. Well, portions of the city has been out for about 4 days. I have not really received any official notifications. I'm out here on the field doing what I normally do. I'm volunteering with the Kennedy High School football team, working with their quarterbacks. Was something that I've done for many, many years for all of the young athletes here in the city, whether it's Eastside and Kennedy. But for relative to the water crisis, day two they changed the location to give out water and it was happened to be in the first ward. I showed up and it was absolute turmoil there. The OEM director was out that day and the mayor had no staff in place. So I jumped in, did what I needed to do, made sure we killed the lines, made sure we organized everything. I helped out with the people who were there. Got on the phone, called PD. Apparently the ripple effect of that went back to the mayor, and he had made sure to exclude me from any of the operations that was going on, relative to making sure people had water. Also, if you see in that same Facebook Live video that you guys played, I put him on blast and spotlighted him for us not holding some of these landowners accountable. Um, you know, uh, 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 the mayor and many council people, Councilwoman Davila, Council President Mims, have been saying that, oh, we can't take care of service this area because that's a private owned building. You know, giving the impression that we only were obligated to take care of those who lived in public housing. But the fact of the matter is, all these residents live in our community. They all suffered the same ill. They said they suffered this from the same failure of the political infrastructure in which we have in place. And a lot of people have been, weighing on me. Well, oh, the mayor can't be responsible for everything. The mayor is not responsible for that, and that's absolutely incorrect. The
Mm,
Water
mm,
Commission is a public utility that's put in place, and it's owned by the city of Patterson. It's owned by, it's a collaboration between Patterson, Passaic, and Clifton. And we also have stretched the service area to reach out to Haledon, Prospect Park, Little Falls, some parts of West Patterson, Woodland Park. But it is an entity that's owned and directed and driven by the city of Patterson and Clifton and Passaic. So when you have representation there that don't understand business, don't understand how things should be done, then these catastrophic occurrences are bound to happen. You can't give the excuse and say, oh, well, it's 110, lines. New York City, they have plenty of lines that are 110 years old, 130, 40, 50 years old. They understand that, and what do? They maintain those lines. They upgrade the lines. The railroad station, the biggest railroad station on the planet, underground railroad station, and the subways in New York. But guess what? They're not just utilizing 1930s, 1920s technology. No, they upgrade it. So when you have incompetency that's in place in the board, and the board doesn't understand and know how to hold accountable these people that are being paid a great deal of money to manage, some of the things that's vitally and critically important, these are the results you get.
mm.
Absolutely, I agree, and I think I saw one of the structural engineers also mention that they don't even have drawings of any kind of the pipeline and how it actually runs through that area, which is, again, to your point, something has to be done.
So where's the surveyor, right? If you don't have drawings, then you survey the land. They have detection systems now where they could detect, these various elements that's underground. Those pipes are all old. Unless they're made out of wood, they're metal. They have detection systems on it. If not, you're supposed to map out and understand where these things are. You're supposed to be able to anticipate failures like this, especially when it becomes a matter of life and death. Just think about it. Can you gentlemen just imagine if a 4 alarm fire would have broke out in one of these places? What the hell you think would have happened? The entire neighborhood would have burned down.
Wow.
Yeah.
But we don't look at it as if, let me put somebody here who's responsible, who's understanding of it. And to that point, the example of that is my appointment to the Board of Adjustments. See, I put somebody there who understands development. He's a contractor. He understands business. He owns his own business. He understands the conditions of the city. He also has lived and grown up here. So it's not an outside person who's speculating, guessing, and he knows what he's talking about. And you see the results of the work from the Board of Adjustments that has been going on. And now you have someone like Trinace Barbie, who's also a longtime resident, somebody who gets it, understands it. She was just removed from Councilwoman Mims because Trinace was holding the developers accountable. She wasn't allowing people to do what they do. So the point that I'm really trying to drive home here is that they want incompetent people on these board seats because
Wow.
they feel they can continue to embezzle the money. These boards, there's a great deal of money that comes into Patterson, and the Passaic Valley Water Commission is not exempt from that.
Hmm. That's a powerful point you just made. Do you really understand that there is a divide coming from the people? There's a divide amongst the council. Um, is that primarily because of all the money that's floating around? And you know, because 'cause we've never seen these type of, I mean, there'd be, like, massive arguments in city council meetings, you know? Even yourself was a part of one of the clips that I saw. What's causing the divide amongst the council that's supposed to be unified for the people?
Well, first of all, let's get this straight. There is no divide amongst the council. You have 8 council members, and you have me. You have 8 council members that have been willing to, allow their vote to be commandeered by the administration. And I'm a person that's been holding them accountable. I'm on a field right now. Where's an example of that? That house right there, that trailer park. The city, we spent $1.4 million on that trailer. $1.4 million for something that probably cost $150,000. There's no access to it. I'm out here practicing with Kennedy's varsity team. They don't have access to it. The team is out there on the street under the tree. If you look at the field, there's no shade, there's no water. When you look at the amount of money that we're allowing people to steal out of this community for poor decisions, and this is something that I stood firm against well over 8, 10 years ago. So,
Absolutely.
my argument has not changed. We got to stop allowing people to steal from us, right? We got to stop allowing people to take advantage of us. And that includes the Water Commission. All of these boards, everything here, and this is why I'm running for mayor, because the entire city, the infrastructure of the administration needs to be revamped. We need to hold people accountable. We still don't have, I just saw G. Greer, he put up a post with regard to Barbers Park saying, oh, there's no way this park could cost $1 million. If you come down to Amistad Park, Sharif Bug, I recently met with him and Brother Peterkin at the Amistad Park. And it's an embarrassment what happened over there in the Amistad Park and the things they put there. And it's over $1 million price tag. You have people who are living in the worst conditions in the city, and, people can't find employment. People are being ousted out of their long time, living quarters because of the exuberant rents. And you have a strong arm of money that's being poured into Patterson from outside because they understand that the rules just don't apply in Patterson the way they apply someplace else. So you have people flocking here from all over, from Brooklyn, from Long Island, from South. Everyone's come running to Patterson who has whether it's their own personal money to invest or if they have access to a fund, some type of trust fund or any kind of capital. They're running into Patterson because they know they could build on any kind of lot. They don't have to meet any criteria. They could build and do work on Sundays. They could do work at night. They don't have to get it inspected. These are all of the things that's taking place in the city that's running the city in the whole and trying to run everybody out of the city.
You bring up a really good point, Councilman. In fact, I'm gonna play a video of couple of years ago when you were bringing these same points, a lot of these things that you're discussing now, some years later, just to kind of advocate that this isn't like the first time. You've been saying this for years. So I'm gonna just play this video under which your argument was the same back then.
To make the day-to-day ends meet, crime seems to be relevant. Yeah. And that's very relevant now because when you look at the unemployment rate in Patterson is right. It's extremely high, but Patterson is the centerpiece for all of the revenue that comes into the county, right. But we don't make sure that our residents have a fair piece of it. Okay. In fact, what we have seen happen is the exact opposite. We want to push all the low-income housing into Patterson. We want to push and encourage people not to be self-sufficient. Mm-hmm. We don't pay our employees a fair, livable wage. And we're looking for people to be systemically obligated or committed to having to need low-income subsidized housing. Because right. It's not affordable housing that we're building. What we're talking about doing is building subsidized housing. Right. And that's a significant difference.
So once again, just to reiterate that this isn't like a new cry for you. I think that was 2 or 3 years ago, and your cry was the same. So, what do you think it's gonna take to turn this thing around other than you yourself, being an advocate for change?
The only answer is leadership that's first and foremost that understands the assignment. But more importantly, understanding is just not enough. The next part is leadership that's willing to commit to the residents and not willing to fold to developers. I don't. If you check all of my ELEC reports, I don't have a great deal of developers running to support me. I had a girl just run against me recently in the first ward, and not only did the mayor spend $250,000 of his own money to try to get me removed, but this young lady raised close to $100,000. I mean, I've been elected for almost 14 years. I've never, I think you could take all of my elections and put them together, and I've never raised that much money. And that's because the developers, they know, they understand. I do have relationships with them. But they understand that I'm not going to fold my hand and allow them to basically take advantage of the community the way they have been doing. And they understand that my language has been pretty consistent since I got elected. It's been the same. It's been, let's take care of our residents. We are failing Patterson people. The HUD has implemented a federal program to allow Section 8 voucher holders to become first-time homeowners. We had over 30,000. The mayor, the current and the previous, the mayors both, kept touting, oh, we got 30,000 vacant and abandoned houses. It's a perfect opportunity to put someone in a home as an owner. We haven't done one. We haven't got one person to benefit from that program. We're talking about a great deal of money that's left on the table. We just returned, if I'm not mistaken, about $4 million because no one was allowed to take part in that provision. So listen, it's not very hard to do. I could kind of summarize it in a few a few in one example. A friend told me that years ago, and you're talking about many years ago. It was a parking authority that was running in the red. They was they weren't performing. They couldn't figure it out. Couldn't stabilize the budget, and they hired a new director. That new director in 1 year turned it around. They were operating in a surplus. So the reporters asked him like, "Hey, what's the secret? What did you do?" He said, "I just made the deposits. I simply got the money to the bank. If you stop people from stealing the money that's dumped on the table after they collect it from those parking meters, and then you get that money to the bank, now you can have a lucrative authority that's performing on behalf of the residents. But if not, guess what? Then you're just gonna have what we have now, and it's a bunch of thievery, stealing, and suffering by the local constituency because they don't understand the nuances of this stuff that's going on. So, and that pretty much summarizes is it all, man. Let's stop taking advantage of our residents and allowing them to be taken advantage of by these outside contractors. Our garbage contract. We have to start bringing these services back home. Not only will we save money, but we will also be able to produce jobs, well-paying, fair market, livable wage paying jobs in the community. Instead of us paying out 35 to $50 million to a private company, we need to keep that in house. And this is another thing that I've been saying over the last 14 years. Keep that in house and turn it into job opportunities for local people. Uh, Road resurfacing, sidewalks and curbs, the infrastructure of the city, the things like that would just happen at the water with the water commission. We should be partnering with the water commission, overseeing their aspects of what they do in our community. We just take their word for it, and why they go and outsource the work too, and squander millions of dollars.
Mm.
Absolutely.
Councilman, you are, obviously, it shows that you're concerned about the affairs of the city of Paterson. Going up to be an elected mayor, do you think you would have the resources to be able to bring about some of the changes that, you're speaking of now?
Absolutely, the resources are here. The resources are in the city. It's all you have to do. is just do things properly, man. You just have to, you know, redirect, reconceptualize how we do business. But this city sees, just in our general budgeting, we see close to $1 billion a year. It's a
Mm.
lot of money, man.
Oh,
And then
yes.
on top of that, you have this mayor that's been given so many other allowances. The $80 million from CARES Act first round, then another 60 million second round, 130, $140 million in tax credits that he allowed to be squandered. Then there's money that's being utilized in these various entities, the PRC, so many. There's so much money that's on the ground here, and you know what? It's being mismanaged. So yes, we will have the resources to do what we need to do.
Excellent, excellent. Because there's a lot of concern, and you see it at the council meetings, and a lot of the times the people's voice, they don't get heard for one reason or another. There's a lot of back and forth between council members, and it just doesn't seem to be any cohesiveness. So I commend you, brother, for continuing your fight for the people of Patterson. It's definitely a struggle, because I've had an opportunity to witness a lot of the council meetings, and it doesn't appear to be anything different. It just appears to be that most of them are business as usual. So we appreciate you taking your time to come on to the show, and I know that you've been out here working hard, um, to serve to service these people for many, many years, and, we do have a platform in which we invite, the council members as well as the mayor. They'll all eventually come on. They've kind of made some commitments, so I'm just glad that you are here and bold enough to speak out.
Absolutely.
Well, listen, I'll just make this last point, and it's not about the discourse. See, a lot of people in Patterson feed into the discourse, the back and forth. See, that's all a part of the design to have people become disenfranchised with the process. Don't. It's not about the arguing and the bickering. It's about what's being said versus what's being done. See, people come, they say they want to hear you, but then they set a clock for you and they don't allow you to sign the list. People say they want to hear you, then they reduce the number of meetings that we have so they don't have to hear you as often during the month, right? So I urge you guys, just like I tell everybody else, don't get caught up into the glam of what's going on, because that's part of the design. They want it to be, you know, in turmoil. They want the discourse so that they can bang the gavel and close the meeting. Take a recess and extended recesses, and not improperly close, the meetings out. And it's all done by design. So, and that's a design to disenfranchise, distract people so they don't want to be engaged, so they're not listening to somebody like myself that's dropping, you know, jewels on them every single night. But the beauty of that is where I am capable of having, some peace of mind, is that that's what I'm getting from everybody. They're like, listen, initially when you start talking, I'm like, oh, here this guy go again. And then I started listening.
Mm.
And then I started hearing exactly what you're saying, the things you're pointing out, things like this that we spent millions of dollars on and we're not even using it. That's 1.4 million. I could run around the city and give you a hundred different examples and still have more to give. So to everybody watching this, please listen. Don't listen to the arguing. Let that play. That's part of the acting class that they're all programmed to do. Just stay tuned and keep listening. And God willing, I get all your support. We win this mayor's race and we change Patterson once and for all. We stop allowing our community to be the laughing stock of the state of New Jersey.
Yes, sir, Councilman. We appreciate your insightful observations and your voice, your presence, very valuable to the community of Paterson, New Jersey. Uh, I know I hear the kids out there, man. So, I know they waiting for you, man. We always pose the question to each interview. Is there anything that any last words that you could say to the people of Paterson, New Jersey? Any last words?
In closing, listen, May can't come soon enough. Mike Jackson, Jackson 2026. We're taking over the mayor's office to take this city over, to hold people accountable, to stop the community from being stolen from. And the reason is, even if for those of you that don't want to do it for yourselves or for somebody else, I'll give you a quick example. This is the high school, right? Where we have a stadium that we just spent $110 million on, right? We got a stadium we just spent $110 million on, yet look where I am,
Mm,
look at the team,
wow,
look at the facilities,
wow,
look where they at. You understand? So these are all the young men that I go hard for each and every day, right here.
wow,
This is what
wow,
it's all about. So
wow.
for everybody that's wondering, we just allowed $110 million to be stolen from Patterson in the Hinchcliffe Stadium, while three different professional teams are playing their games there. And this is where we got Kennedy High School, my alma mater, where when I played, we was undefeated state champions 2 years consecutive. This is where it's at.
All right. Yeah.
Alright. Yeah.
So I'm gonna close that out, man, because we're gonna go on this field. I'm gonna work with the quarterbacks, man. I appreciate you guys, man. Thank you.
Councilman, we really appreciate you coming on the show. Continue to do the
Yo,
good
Q's,
work
let's
for the
go.
city of Paterson and the people of Paterson, and we'll be in touch, man. We'll be keeping an eye on things.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it, man. Thank you, and please keep me posted. I'm willing to come on anytime, debate, whatever it is, man. Let's make it happen.
Oh, yeah, we
Absolutely.
definitely we definitely gotta bring you back, brother. Thank you
Yep.
again.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Councilman Michael Jackson.
Thank you.
WNT9 Talk Radio, man. Dal, I thank you for, bringing the councilman on, man. It was, a very good, and he said some things that I was very unaware of. So I
Absolutely.
think, we definitely have to bring him back. I know we are trying to get the mayor on here, and a few other councilmen members. We're looking forward to this, man. It's time to clean up.
Absolutely. I did have a conversation, brief one with Councilman Velez, who's been on once, and he's going to return.
Great.
I've heard back from the mayor. He's asked us to contact his people to schedule to come on. So we'll continue to follow, the politics of Patterson and what's going on, and continue to help educate the people, and hopefully we'll be able to see the city do well one day, and not be, as Councilman Jackson said, the laughing stock
Right.
of the state of New Jersey. In all transparency, we fell on this story because um we happened to notice some things of our own. So, it's great information for the people. I'm happy to be a part of it, and we're gonna keep bringing it to the people for the people.
No doubt. Until next time, we out of here, man. WNT9 Talk Radio.